Mason's Space Adventure. Written by Andrew Wooten. Voiced by Anthony Cifuentes. One day in Houston, Texas. "Look at this," said Mason.
What?
Asked Jim. "NASA located a new galaxy," said Mason. X3. It could be one that maybe had aliens. Nobody has ever seen one,
Yeah, right.
said Jim.
But we just have to go up there.
Later they met two other astronauts named Sarah and Eric. "This is our shuttle," Mason said.
Wow!
They all said in excitement. The next day was Thanksgiving. They were all excited to have the day off to spend with their families, including the boss. They decided that the Friday after Thanksgiving, they would have a work Thanksgiving Day party. Mason needed to cook the turkey. He didn't know how he was going to get everything done, but Thanksgiving Day was only one day in the year. Sarah agreed that she would make everything else. The boss decided to bring the pies and ice cream. The next day, Mason woke up at 7:56 a.m. "It's time for work. Whoa, I've gotta go." Mason made it to work at 8:17 a.m.
Hey, Mason, you're late.
The boss said. Mason looked at his watch, and it said 8:21 a.m.
So what happened? Did you watch Iron Man? It's a long movie. Did you?
Mason interrupted. "I think I overslept,"
Oh, come on.
said the boss. Later, everyone had a good feast. Just then, the boss remembered.
Freeze, everybody. We need to go in 6 days.
He said loudly. "Are you sure about this, Mason?" Eric said. "We're going in 2 weeks," said Mason. 1 week passed. Mason left the space center. When he was trying to get sleep, he couldn't. "I'm so tired," Mason said. He was busy thinking about the launch, and that was the only thing he was thinking about. The other three were just fine. His son came into his room and told him that he needed to get some rest if he was going on a launch. "I'm going on a launch in 1 week, but I cannot get some sleep," said Mason. The next morning, Mason yawned. "I'm so tired, I wish I slept last night," Mason said as he picked up his fork to eat his meal at breakfast.
Where's Mason?
Said the boss.
I got an email that said he's not coming today.
Said Sarah.
He may come tomorrow. Okay, back to work,
said the boss. They were working on a rocket. Later that afternoon, Mason was on his way to the space center. "Sorry, guys, I'm late," said Mason.
Oh, no worries,
said Sarah.
At least you missed building the rocket.
Suddenly, the boss came into the room with a can of soda.
Hey, guys, what's up?
Asked the boss. He looked up at Mason.
I thought you weren't coming today. What happened?
Asked the boss. Extreme tiredness. It's a long story, said Mason.
Guys, you better have RSA 2718 done, because our launch is 6 days from today,
said the boss. What's RSA 2718? Asked Mason.
Our rocket,
said the boss.
Chapter 2, Thanksgiving.
At Mason's house. Mason was enjoying his food. This is some good food, said Mason. Just then, he saw his cousin, Henry, walked into the door. "Hey, Henry. Nice to see you," said Mason. Henry looked at Mason and said,
"Hey, Mason!
They both hugged each other.
Any interesting things?"
said Henry. Oh, I totally forgot. I have a launch in 2 days. We're going to Galaxy X3, said Mason. Henry started laughing.
"That's a lie. No way."
Henry said. "I know it's hard to believe, but it's true," said Mason. "It's just right after Andromeda Galaxy," said Mason. "About 415,000 light years away," he added. The next day at his space station,
"We are going tomorrow,"
said the boss. "I hope we have enough fuel for tomorrow, because if we do not, this will be a very big disaster," said Mason. "That's why we have to be prepared," said Eric. The crew worked on the shuttle all day and never got any rest. "We should get some rest," said Mason. As they were on computers, Mason discovered about X3 had shocking news. "There are black holes everywhere." "Maybe we shouldn't go," said Eric. "We've been to, like, the moon and Mars. But a different galaxy? Wow."
Chapter 3. Launch Day.
The next day was launch day. As the crew got everything they needed at the launch station, they gathered their lunches in case they needed to eat. Mason made it just in time, and he was not extremely tired, of course.
"See ya, Mason, Eric, Sarah, and Jim. Just in case you do not make it, this is why I am saying this,"
said the boss. Just then,
10,
9,
8,
7,
starting up rocket boosters.
6,
5,
4,
3,
2,
1.
ignition, said a voice on the loudspeaker. "This is why I should have listened to you, Eric," said Mason. The astronauts yelled and screamed as they rocketed out to space. Soon they were out in space.
Chapter 4. The Space Travel.
As the rockets and the tank boosted off, it took days to get to X3. "Wow, nobody has ever explored a different galaxy before. We might break a world record. We're going about a light year in like less than a second. How awesome is technology in 2054, said Eric. When they were zooming through the unfamiliar galaxy, Mason had a feeling they should stop for a minute or two to find something new. "Guys, I think we should stop for a second so that we can scan the area. We can search anything new on the light sensor," Mason suggested. Right after Mason said that, Sarah got on the computer and started detecting light. There were a lot of stars, but right in front of them, they saw a circle of darkness. The team was sure that space would have been filled with all the surrounding stars by now. A few seconds later, a star right next to the mysterious area was being drawn into the area, and it was stretched out and sucked up. They knew this was not a planet or a moon. "What is that?" asked Mason.
"According to this book I brought, it is a black hole."
Sarah answered.
A black hole?
They all yelled at once. Just as they were entering the black hole, Mason decided to move the ship in reverse at maximum speed, but it was too late.
Ah, get in the emergency shuttle!
Yelled Sarah. As they moved for the emergency shuttle, the controls malfunctioned. Eric tried to fix the controls, but was sucked into the hole with the main ship. "We made it," said Mason.
But where is Eric?
Cried Jim. As they headed for the planet, they headed down the atmosphere, but they had another problem. The heat shield exploded.
Slow it down!
Cried Jim. As they plummeted to the planet, their ship crashed, and then again another problem. Jim was also hurt, but he was not dead. Mason said, "Sarah, stay with Jim. I'm going to go find a place to stay." Meanwhile, the black hole spit Eric out. Mysterious aliens took him to a very red planet. On this planet, volcanoes exploded out their contents. Back on the other planet, where the rest of the crew crash landed, Mason found a village filled with extraterrestrials. He thought they could help him find his friends. "Come, you guys. Look at all this. Isn't it amazing?" said Mason to his friends.
This self-die is sponsored by NordVPN.
My job is to make college easier because students have a lot on their plates. Like Harper, an econ major who piles on the pressure. Grammarly can help her stress less.
This term paper's gotta be great. It's a third of my grade.
Your ideas are on the money. Let's make sure they come across clearly with Grammarly. Watch it work. Watch it work.
Wow, that is stronger.
And Avery, an engineering major who runs on ambition and coffee. Grammarly can get her her dream job.
My application needs to stand out. They only meet with the top candidates.
If you want to make a good impression and nail your delivery, use Grammarly. You don't want to pull another all-nighter, do you? Now that's taking it to the end zone. Yeah. Oh, touchdown with Grammarly. And Blake, an education major who knows what he wants. So you're going to be a school teacher.
Yeah, but first I need to get my senior thesis over the finish line. I keep repeating the same words.
Let Grammarly help you find the right words faster. Grammarly, do your magic. And you did it in one place. Grammarly means better results. That's why it's the writing tool selected by 3,000 schools and universities. Try Grammarly for free by clicking the blue button. Class dismissed. Go on. Download Grammarly today. Blue button. Right there, Grammarly. Oh yeah. Click it. Don't look at us. It's just a coach and a duck. It's alright. You click that blue button. Alright. You've seen it before, haven't you? Ooh, Grammarly for the win.
The aliens were frightened at first, but then Mason introduced himself and his friends. "Hello, we come in peace. We are from a planet called Earth. We just need some help with our ship and friends,"
I think they do not understand.
said Jim. Just then, Sarah chimed in.
According to this book,
Mason interrupted. "I don't think this book is helping right now,"
let me speak right now.
Sarah said loudly.
According to this book, it has the language that they speak. The language is from a myth. We can learn their language. I hope it works. Chapter 5. The Helpful Aliens.
As Sarah spoke the language, the group understood the language the aliens spoke, and they said they were willing to help. The helpful aliens told them all about the Death Planet and the Death Planet's trap, an experiment that ended out in a black hole, which is known as the Death Hole. They soon realized Eric had fallen into the Death Hole. "We need to get Eric back. We cannot live without him. We need to get back to that planet As soon as the boss knows that Eric died, he may never send any missions out ever again, said Mason to the aliens and the crew. Back on the Death Planet, Eric was put in a cell and made of alien material. When he heard aliens chattering to each other, one of the aliens came over to him. The alien said, which meant he wanted to know which planet he was from. Eric nervously said that he was from Earth. The aliens stared at Eric. As soon as Eric saw those faces, he knew he was in trouble. I hope my friends come for me, he mumbled to himself. Meanwhile, back on the other planets, Mason and his friends gathered up all the aliens they could form an army. They carried spears and swords. The aliens had an old spaceship that they could carry Mason and his friends to the other planet to get their friend back. Get in the ship, guys. We need to save Eric from the Death Planet. Meanwhile, back at the space station on Earth, the boss was upset that they would not make it back to Earth, ever.
Send search teams 515 and 516 out to look. I hope they are still alive,
demanded the boss.
Yes, sir. We will find them dead or alive,
said the leader of 515, as the groups were on their way to X3. Mason and his friends made it to the Death Planet and located Eric in the cave cell. As soon as they got in the cell, they rescued Eric. I thought you died in that black hole. I am glad to see you alive. And then they all had a group hug. Said a voice from behind.
Actually, I think we're all not gonna make it out alive,
said Sarah.
According to my book, he just said, you won't escape now. Chapter 6. The Battle of Death Planet.
The aliens trapped them all up in a cell. But then the army from the other planet stormed in. Mason spoke quickly. You guys, this is not right. We can't have peace or war. But wouldn't it be better to have peace? The aliens disagreed, and they said the alien king will decide what to do. Mason picked the lock and got out of his cell and headed for the king. There was a lot of battling going on in front of him between the two alien planets. Just then, the king spoke from his throne and said that the earthlings shall be destroyed as soon as possible. With that being said, Mason hurried up to the king's throne. The king saw Mason and pulled out his two powerful swords. Mason brought a sword too. They fought for a couple of minutes until the king cut Mason's leg and Mason fell to the ground. The king said,
This is your last day to live. Any last words?
Mason was certain he was going to die, but he couldn't let his friends die. Yes, I do have some last words. You shall not destroy my friends or any earthlings. Be friendly aliens. Stop having war. You can change your ways and be at peace. The king decided to spare their lives when Mason gave him a peace offering of the most delicious chocolates Earth had to offer. The king was so elated to try his new treat that he halted all wars and the two planets signed a peace treaty. The crew still had one more problem. Where would they find a spaceship to take them home? Just then, they saw two spaceships in the horizon and realized they came from Earth.
I guess the boss really does care a lot about us,
said Sarah. It was the search teams. Everybody cheered. How awesome technology is in 2054, Eric said. Everyone laughed. Mason and his friends really wanted to stay, but they had to go. Their families were waiting for them back home.
Chapter 7, Home at Last.
The search teams landed back home near the space station tower. As soon as they got out, they saw their boss standing with pizza boxes.
I was so worried about you guys,
said the boss. Kick back said Mason.
What did you say?
Said the boss. I'll talk about it later. Right now it's time to celebrate, said Mason. They all had cake and ice cream. It was all a giant party. The aliens, the Earth, the whole universe lived happily ever after. The end.